hate to tell you this, but there isn't much time because you're already in this. Throughout history, the masters of the game of power have been able to acquire a superpower of sorts. I know, as weird as it sounds, it's true. At the same time, if you don't follow this law, let's just say ignoring this law can be fatal. It's not a risk you want to take. But don't worry, if you watch closely, by the end you'll have everything you need to start utilizing this superpower yourself. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. New York, 1946. The most powerful Don in the city has been hospitalized. Chaos was about to ensue. His empire was left in the hands of his eldest son, Santino Corleone. But with enemies like his, keeping the empire intact is not so easy. One miscalculation, one wrong move, and it's over. He was up against some of the most powerful and cunning men in the country, but that didn't faze him. He began a firestorm, throwing everything he had against his enemies. If they wanted a war, that's what he was going to give them. Within only a few days, he had taken out Bruno Tattaglia, forcing the other Dons to go into hiding. And with the whole Michael taking out Sollozzo and a police captain, it was clear that Sonny was quite cunning himself and not afraid of taking major risks. This went on for a while, but his enemies, ever so cunning, only needed to wait for an opening that they would exploit to then bring the Corleone family to its knees, and they soon got what they wanted. Sonny would soon get a phone call that would be his last. But why did this happen? What did Sonny do to mess everything up? Was he inexperienced? Yes, but he clearly was no dummy. After all, up until this point, he held his own against these powerful people, forcing them to go into hiding. So what happened? We know someone managed to exploit a weakness in Sonny, playing him like a puppet. Judgment. Reputation is the cornerstone of power. Through reputation alone, you can intimidate and win. Once it slips, however, you are vulnerable and will be attacked on all sides. Make your reputation unassailable. Always be alert to potential attacks and thwart them before they happen. Meanwhile, learn to destroy your enemies by opening holes in their own reputations, then stand aside and let public opinion hang them. Before we begin, here's a question for you. What do all these individuals have in common? And no, it's not what you think. We'll get back to this. Let's see how quickly you will pick this up. Transgression of the law. Let's unpack why Sonny managed to get crushed even though he was in the lead. Interpretation. Sonny had built up a reputation of being a hothead. His enemies knew this and looked to exploit it. They knew exactly how to trigger a response from him, and well, that's all they needed. He essentially became a puppet who can be baited into doing whatever they wanted. Giving a man like Barzini that much leverage over his opponent was going to end in one way. Barzini knew how and when to strike, and when he did, well, it was fatal. Which is why, even though Sonny started off doing quite well, at that level in the game of power, you only need to slip up once, even if up until then you had done everything right, down to the last detail. If you lose your focus for one moment, that's enough for you to lose everything. And that's also incredibly true in the real world. We only have to take a look at some of the most successful strategists of all time, from Napoleon to Alexander the Great. All have impeccable records, however, can be a victim to this. So you see how not controlling your reputation or having a reputation built on weakness is extremely dangerous. But now let's look at how, when done correctly, your reputation can be an unbelievable key that can unlock doors that you never thought were possible. Observance of the law. There's probably only one example of someone who we can look at and say without a shadow of a doubt that they had mastered this law, utilizing it to its full extent. In the world of the Godfather, Don Vito Corleone had built such a powerful reputation that his name carried so much weight that it alone had the ability to influence anyone who heard it. His reputation was tied to his power and capabilities. He had a proven track record that made him known for being an extremely intelligent yet cunning man. But how did he do it? We'll get into that, but here's something to keep in mind. I'm sure some of you will be thinking, well, there is no real Vito Corleone per se. But try this out. When you heard the name Vito Corleone for the first time in this video, what did you think of? What was the image you instantly recalled? But more interestingly, try to focus on the emotions that his name had triggered. Maybe his voice, his iconic look, but also the overall aura. It all came to you at once. You have to immediately think of all the associated characteristics he embodies and the ones you observe. For example, Vito is described as someone very capable, wise, respected, ruthless at times, but at the same time a family man who's actually quite reasonable and has a code of honor. Now, in contrast, let's do the same exercise again with somebody else. Ready? Fredo Corleone. Now, I'm sure you got a very different image in your head and it triggered a different set of emotions. With Fredo, you don't instantly have the image of someone capable or even trustworthy. Someone may be quite innocent and easily manipulated. Although there is no real Vito Corleone, or Fredo for that matter, it works exactly the same in our world. If you thought Vito was the only example of this law in action, wait till you hear this. Throughout history, this concept was even more potent. There have been many similar situations where a leader was able to win, primarily by the power their name had commanded. Imagine you're in a small rural village. You wake up from the terrifying sound. The Great Khan and the Mongol horde are here. Now that's a terrifying thought. Even though you haven't even seen them, by mere association you immediately know what they stand for and what they specialize in doing. Quite a dark extreme, but let's uncover why. Genghis Khan, the founder and first great Khan of the Mongol Empire, built a reputation shaped by both his military might and the brutality associated with his conquests. He's often depicted as a ruthless and merciless conqueror who led his armies to wage war and pillage across vast territories. Some historians differ if this is actually true, but it does seem to be fairly true, even if a bit exaggerated. His strategic brilliance and organizational skills, and really his unmatched ability to unite rival Mongol tribes and build a formidable and disciplined army, allowed him to create a vast empire that stretched from the Pacific Ocean to Eastern Europe, one of the largest in history. But the reputation of the Khan as a conqueror is more popularly tied to the devastation and destruction caused by his conquests. The Mongol armies were known for their swift and brutal tactics, employing terror as a weapon to intimidate and subdue their enemies. Here's what's quite strange. Despite his reputation of brutality, Genghis Khan's empire still somehow fostered cultural exchange, trade routes, and religious tolerance. The Mongol Empire facilitated communication and exchange between different regions, leading to the spread of ideas, technologies, and cultural practices. This contrast is why we can't help but draw comparisons to the character Don Vito. The whole ruthless yet reasonable image we have of them is quite striking. The laws of power state, in the beginning, you must work to establish a reputation for one outstanding quality, whether generosity or honesty or cunning. This quality sets you apart and gets other people to talk about you. You then make your reputation known to as many people as possible. Subtly, though, take care to build slowly and with a firm foundation, and watch as it spreads like wildfire. Keys to power. Here's the thing, the simple fact is we judge each other based on reputation. The problem with reputation is that it's something external. Sometimes our perception of something is often more powerful than our reality. And the truth is, reputation is the foundation of power, and it's imperative to create a reputation that precedes you. He believes that reputation can be a potent tool to manipulate, intimidate, and persuade others to do what one wants. Therefore, it's crucial to cultivate a positive reputation that will command respect and admiration from others. One way to do this is by controlling the narrative about oneself and ensuring that others see one in a positive light. Reputation is a treasure to be carefully collected and hoarded. A solid reputation increases your presence and exaggerates your strengths without you having to spend much energy. It can also create an aura around you that will instill respect, even fear. Remember this, respect and fear are intertwined in the realm of power. Vito Corleone flawlessly balanced these elements. Respect was earned through his principles, his strategic brilliance, and the unwavering fulfillment of his promises. Fear was instilled through ruthless acts, leaving no doubt as to the consequences of challenging his authority. Remember, there's a huge caveat to all of this, but don't worry, we'll give you everything you need shortly. So how do you actually do this? When starting out, work on establishing a reputation for one particular outstanding quality, whether generosity, honesty, or cunning. This quality is what sets you apart and gets other people to talk about you. You then make your reputation known to as many people possible. But make sure you do it subtly though, building slowly, focusing on establishing a firm foundation. Once you've done that, watch as it spreads like wildfire. Now you know the power of a controlled reputation. Let's look at how dangerous it is if you misuse it. Here's the thing. Trust, my friend, is a delicate currency of power. Once it's shattered, it's nearly impossible to rebuild. When your reputation is tarnished, doubts seep into the minds of those around you. Allies become suspicious and alliances crumble like sand, slipping through your fingers. It becomes a permanent scar. Now, I know that's quite dramatic, but it's true. A damaged reputation isolates you. Your influence wanes, and doors that were once open slam shut in your face. Without the support and connections that reputation affords, you become a mere pawn in a game, no longer in control. I mean, you've seen this countless times, whether it was an athlete, a company, celebrity, and even social media influencers selling out their reputation for a quick buck instead of nurturing their current relationships that, in the long run, it's going to reward them tenfold. It's really something quite puzzling to me. Here's something to live by. Always put your principles and your code of honor first. But now, what if you've already damaged your reputation or want to change it? You now understand the gravity of this mistake. So what do? Is there any hope of fixing it? Well, Michael was in this exact situation. I think if we pick his brain, we can break down what we should and shouldn't do. Let's see how he handled it. When Michael took over the Corleone family, he had one thing clearly set in his mind. If he were to take over, he would do things his way. Without disrespecting the Don, Michael had a new vision for the Corleone family. He wanted his own children to become the big shots the Don spoke of. He was going to open the right doors and enter the right circles that would allow the possibility of a Corleone president of the United States. And who knows, if everything works out, maybe multiple generations of presidents. But looking at where the Corleone family is currently at, the price tag on those ambitions far exceeded the family's current net worth. He looked at his position on the chessboard rationally and then followed the laws of power. If you find yourself in a situation where your reputation is already tarnished, making it damn near impossible to start fresh, according to the laws of power, there is a cunning move you can pull. Look, wiping away a reputation for being a shady character is no easy task, especially once it becomes known. So, if you could… Wait a minute, let's just pause real quick because there's something that we need to clear up. We'll get into the ethical way on how to use this law in a minute, but I want you to keep in mind that this particular strategy is not always done with malicious intent. Some people who have damaged their reputation do genuinely want to make a positive change and should be allowed to do so. So it wouldn't be fair to accuse everyone of having malicious intent. But know that it can be misused. With that out of the way, let's get back into it. If you start to align yourself with a shining beacon of honesty and integrity, everything changes. Their pristine reputation will do wonders to overshadow any doubts that previously plagued you. Suddenly, you'll find yourself basking in the glow of their righteousness, as your own rep gets a glorious boost. Yep, now you see what Michael was thinking in Part 3. It's a strategic move that will have the world seeing you in a whole new light. It's all about finding the right partner in crime, one whose image is the complete opposite of yours, and then start embodying those values. And that's exactly what he did. So let's break down how he planned to achieve this. The first step was to level up the family's wealth that would give him the tools to start reshaping the family's image and reputation. So without wasting much time, the first thing he did once he settled the family's affairs was to leave New York and move pretty much everything to Nevada. A pretty good strategy when looking to start with a somewhat clean slate. Then he aggressively entered the casino business, which served as a fairly smooth transition. He started moving in circles with extremely influential and powerful people, slowly blending into the upper class of American society, remolding his and the family's image. Years later, he decided to sell all his interests in the casino business and transition into a new venture, the next level in his climb. He had his eyes set on becoming the major shareholder of the multi-billion-dollar conglomerate International Immobiliare, a powerful European real estate company. Obviously a more respected and certainly cleaner industry than his previous ventures, but also put him in business with the Vatican. Of course, as you know, it doesn't work out for him, but the thinking was correct. Now, as always, there is a caveat to all these laws, and we have the answer to the question, should you use this law? Given the world we live in today, it's safe to say that not much has changed. In fact, it's become even more essential to master this law. In today's fast-paced world, information travels at lightning speed. With that, a person's reputation can be built or destroyed in an instant. Social media, online reviews, and word of mouth can quickly make or break a business, a politician, or an individual. so it's crucial to always act in a way that enhances your reputation and never take actions that could potentially damage it. The concept of reputation has been around for centuries, and it's always been an essential part of human interaction. In ancient Rome, reputation was everything, and it was often the key to social and political success. The Romans had a saying, "A good name is more desirable than great riches," which is exactly the same in today's society. A good reputation is essential for success in business, politics, and personal relationships. A person's reputation is really just the sum total of their actions, behaviors, and values, and it can have a profound impact on how others perceive them. People with a good reputation are often seen as trustworthy, reliable, and honest, while those with a bad reputation are viewed with suspicion and mistrust, which is all based on their previous actions. One of the most critical aspects of reputation is perception. The way that others perceive a person's reputation is often more important than the reality of their character. For example, a person who is honest and trustworthy but is perceived as untrustworthy due to rumors or false information will often struggle to clear his name. Therefore, it's essential to be aware of how others perceive your reputation and take measures to correct any negative perceptions. This can be done by actively seeking feedback from others, addressing any concerns they may have, and taking steps to demonstrate one's positive qualities. At the same time, don't make the mistake of obsessing over what others think. That's a trap that can lead you down a very dark path. The key is to actually be all those things you want to be known for, not act like it. Now, here's another important factor you need to remember. Creating a positive reputation is not where it ends. It's equally important to protect your reputation from those who seek to damage it. I'm sure you've realized this by now when you look at today's world. It's not uncommon for people to spread false information or rumors to tarnish someone's reputation. This can be done for personal gain, revenge, or unfortunately just for fun. Therefore, it's crucial to be cautious when dealing with others and not trust people blindly, even if they seem trustworthy. It's essential to be prepared to defend oneself against those who seek to damage one's reputation. And since you stuck around for all these lessons, here's a step-by-step guide on how you can start using this law today that's going to give you such an edge over your competitors you'll become unrecognizable. Step 1. Start by finding one particular quality that you want to be known for, making it a core pillar of your identity, one that makes you stand out and forces others to talk about you. Step 2. Start proving through your actions. This will give you the confidence to continue to improve, but what's amazing is that while you are improving and building your skills, the more you prove your capabilities through your actions, the more you will build a reputation of hard work and excellent work ethic, which will build up your own confidence that will then in turn help you actually do these actions more, making it sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Step 3. Once you have a solid foundation, go all in. Start working on making it known to as many people as possible. And if you followed and understood everything we've talked about, watch it spread like wildfire. And then you'll be able to start leveraging your new reputation. There's still a few more key elements, but to be quite frank, these are only reserved for our dedicated members. If you still want to learn this secret, I'll send it to you with the Inside exclusive newsletter. Once you've done that, this video will help you in the next step. See you there.